January 24th, 1963. A B-52 plane is flying overhead conducting a training mission on evading Russian radar. The Soviets had just developed a brand new radar technology that required American pilots to fly under it to evade detection while in enemy territory. The B-52 was an amazing plane designed to fly faster than 600 miles an hour and at altitudes higher than 50,000 feet. So it's a rugged plane, but it's also dynamic in terms of its function at wartime. The problem was, the plane was not designed to fly at low altitude, which made some of the safety features less effective than they were designed to be. When the B-52 was designed, the Russians didn't have this radar technology, so there was no need to be concerned with flying at such high speeds at such low altitude. During this particular run, the flight crew had two choices. They could fly over the mountains of the Carolinas, or they could fly over the mountains of Maine. And of course, as we know, they chose the mountains of Maine, probably because the weather conditions more closely matched those they'd be flying in while in Russia. The weather conditions on the day of the test flight were typical for a winter in the mountains of Maine. It was negative 14 degrees, and the winds were howling off the mountains upwards of 50 miles an hour. You combine that with having to fly below 500 feet to avoid detection by radar, you have a very challenging situation. Not just for the pilot, but also for the structure of the plane. The turbulence from the wind drifting off of the mountain is really what brought this mission to its knees. But the construction of the plane didn't help matters much either. The B-52 at the time was designed for high altitude work and was never really designed for quick maneuvering at any altitude. So when the crew realized they couldn't manage the turbulence at the low altitude they were flying, the pilot was directed to bring the plane up so they could fly over it. And that's when tragedy struck. When the pilot attempted to bring the plane to a higher altitude through the turbulence, a loud bang was heard. That's when the plane veered right with its nose pointing straight down at the ground. There was absolutely nothing he could do, and when the pilot realized he couldn't regain control of the plane, he ordered the crew to abandon the aircraft.
Mayday, going down.
The three men in the cockpit could just use their ejection seats, which is what they did. They pulled up on the levers and ejected directly up and out. Unfortunately, one of them hit a tree and died on impact. The second one got his parachute tangled in a tree and hung there 30 feet above ground. The third one cracked his skull, shattered 3 ribs, and bent the frame of his ejection seat when it hit the ground because his parachute didn't open. So these 2 survivors are in really rough shape, and their situation is about to get even more dire. Worst news is, the large B-52 plane was not designed for low altitude ejection, so it had to be above 200 feet for the lower deck ejection seats to work. For example, if the plane were below 200 feet and the lower deck ejection seats were not disabled, the seats would have ejected downward, straight at the ground with such force that death would have been unavoidable. So the lower deck ejection seats are non-functional, and there is additional crew on board, and this additional crew doesn't even have ejection seats. So their only hope of getting out of the plane alive is to force the door open, put on a parachute, and then look for a place to jump. Now it's just seconds after the last crew member ejects from the cockpit that the plane hits the side of Elephant Mountain. We're talking 7 to 11 seconds here. 7 to 11 seconds to get a door open, get a parachute on, find a place to jump so they can save their lives. The plane's going more than 300 miles an hour, and there's absolutely nothing that lower deck crew can do. It's no surprise. We've been told by numerous people over the years that there's something about the wreckage on Elephant Mountain that brings immense sadness and anxiety, and that some people have had to vacate the memorial area while their family remains to investigate the debris, and that we should come up here and check it out for ourselves.
So anything you say
can be used against me in the court of law.
Yeah, let's go up this. We have that wreckage in the background.
He had an
what
idea.
I said was, if you were up there pointing down,
You could see the wreckage
that
behind
gives
him.
you this gradient kind of, you get the wheels.
See, is it moving?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I'm gonna start recording. Probably roll.
Okay.
Yeah. So walking up the pathway into the crash site, I immediately got a sense of nauseous in my stomach, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. And then this sadness did kind of overtake me, and then I felt very solitary and I felt very alone. As I got deeper into it, I was just picking up on fear. There was a lot of fear that's associated with this place. So working with that fear and that loneliness feeling, I tried to address it. And then a sense of peace started to come over me. I was kind of making peace with myself because I knew that I was going to die. This was it. I was at the end. And then this calmness just kind of took over. But it is a very eerie site, but I think by making it into a memorial, they've actually made it better. So people can come here and they can experience it, they can see the wreckage, but they also can understand that they can feel better about it. It's almost like a release, and I think that's what I want to do here. Is I want to light some sage and do kind of like a cleansing of the fear that's been stuck here.
I'm not expecting anything from you. Don't feel like you're on the spot.
No, I'm just trying to think of what else. I mean, it's just there's a sense of peace here, even though there's all this carnage and twisted metal. It is a memorial. It is like entering into a graveyard, and you can kind of connect and understand and feel at peace with everything. So.
All right. So, did you get anything from any of the pieces or anything like down in that fuselage area?
I think that's where the fear was the most. Is in that area where you could see that enclosed space.
Let's go down there and do that.
Yeah.
Take your bag with you, and I mean this is your time.
Maybe a place to actually burn, and can we do that?
As long as we don't drop anything.
All right.
We're about to do kind of a spiritual ceremony now. So David has brought some sage with him, and he just mentioned that he thinks doing a little bit of a saging up here, burning some sage is what we do. So we light it and just let it smoke come out into the air. So he thinks that doing that might help calm the area a little bit. So we're going to try that and get some footage of David doing what David does.
Are you doing it right there, David? Or are you going to do it? Oh, there's a rock right out here in the front. Right there on the flat.
Yeah, I was actually going to probably do the inside of that.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Hold on, let me get you this way.
Yeah, so I study shamanism and have been doing this for a number of years, as well as Reiki and other energy work for the last 17 years. And I feel drawn to this area right here to do some type of a cleansing using a white sage for honoring the Native Americans, and I also have some Palo Santos resin that I want to throw in all the directions, and it's more of a clearing of this place. It's not that there's anything bad here by any means, but it's just a way of honoring the people that have passed in this crash. And I also use a quartz crystal because it's such a large area, and quartz amplifies energy and thought, so I want to do this while I'm clearing here, and that way it covers the entire area because wreckage was strewn all over the place. So I'm just going to take a minute to do a little bit of a deep breath and setting my intention for what it is that I'm doing, which is clearing. And ask the wind to stop so I can get this lit. I want to smudge on the inside. and ask that the clearing smoke help calm the area and release the fear that may be stuck. And bring more of a sense of peace to such a tragedy. And then we'll circle. And as an offering, we'll use Palo Santos in all directions. To the north, to the east, to the south, and to the west. We ask for clearing and peace to be instilled on this gravesite. Yeah. And I encourage anybody to come out here and enjoy, learn, and add their energies to this memorial.
You're probably wondering how to get here. Just go to Greenville, Maine, find Lily Bay Road, and take that to Prong Pond Road. Once you're on Prong Pond Road, just follow the signs for the B52 crash site. They'll lead you right up here. The trail is rated as easy, and there's room for 3 to 4 cars to park at the bottom of the trail. Please respect this place like you would a graveyard, because that's what it is. 7 men lost their lives here, and this crash site is sacred ground. Do not take anything from this site. Do not carve your name into any of the pieces. Do not desecrate this place by leaving any mark or sign that you were here. This is a mass grave and should be respected as such. Thank you for joining us today. Remember to subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications about this video as well as any other videos we post in the future. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up down below to let us know. If you have any comments about this location or this site or this video, please put those down there as well, and also let us know if there's any place else you'd like to have us check out. Remember to share this video with all of your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and anywhere else you can think of.